Okay, thank you. Welcome to councillors and staff and those joining online in the public gallery today. We are very glad that you're here. Please note that today's meeting is being live streamed and can be viewed by the general public via Council's Facebook page and later uploaded to Council's website. By participating in and addressing those present at the meeting, you consent to any information you disclose, including any personal information or sensitive information, being recorded and uploaded to the website. I'd like to invite Councillor Taylor to recite the prayer. Councillor Taylor.
Almighty God, we humbly beseech your blessing on the Council, direct and prosperous deliberations for the welfare of the people of Moyne Shire. Amen.
Thanks, Councillor Taylor. And I'd now like to invite Councillor Murray to read our acknowledgement of country.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. We acknowledge the Shire people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We also extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today in our gallery and also watching along on the live stream.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. We do have one apology today from Councillor Jim Dukas, and I'll call for a motion to accept those apologies. Thank you, Councillor Murray. Seconded, Councillor Lockett. Any dissent there? If not, we'll put that to a vote. All those in favour? That is carried. 6-0. Do we have any declarations of interest for today's agenda, please? Mr. Everstein?
Yes, through you, Mayor. So item 2.5, the CEO Employment and Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Everstein. We move now to the minutes of the Ordinary Council meeting of the 22nd of July, 2025. First of all, is there any discussion, any issues that councillors would like to raise? If not, I'll call for a mover to confirm those minutes as a true and accurate record. Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Seconded, Councillor Murray. All those in favour? Carried 6-0. We have two public participation guests here today, and I call for a motion to suspend our standing orders so that we can hear our public participants. Thank you, Councillor Lockett. Seconded by Councillor Murray. All those in favour? Carried 6-0. And I'll invite our first public participant, Ms. Lucette Hill. You have got 2 items, so I'd invite you to take a seat, and we've got 5 minutes for each item that you would like to proceed to, and we will have a little stopwatch, so I'll give you a warning at 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor, councillors and executive. First item is to thank Moyne Shire for the letter of support written to the St Helens and District Landcare Group, of whom I am Secretary, regarding our application to the Ryan Corner Wind Farm. I come to report that that application was successful and the group is about to receive $10,000 from that project. The project will go towards, the money will go towards supporting farmers in the project area, which is a specific footprint determined by the Ryan Corner Wind Farm, to assist landholders who are eligible to plant native trees. That's where the money's going. So I'm here to acknowledge the letter of support, but also to request of Council an assistance to help us identify landholders who do not live on the properties that are in the footprint area in order to make them aware of this grant program, which will commence shortly. How we might go about that, bearing in mind the requirements of the Privacy Act and adhering to that, is open for discussion, but I come to request that that assistance be provided so that we can ensure that any landholders who are eligible in that footprint area are made aware of this grant. And some of those don't live on property, so they're difficult to know who they are. That's the first thing.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ms. Hill. We'll deal with that one first then. I'm not sure if you're in a position to provide any response to that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Mill, for your presentation and also acknowledging of the support for the grant. Great to see that money come through. So, yeah, we're happy to look and see what degree of support we can provide. So we'll come back to you directly, and we'll also update councillors on that. So we'll be back to you shortly on that.
And thank you for your work on that project too, Ms. Mills, because it's really
It's going to be terrific. It's terrific. Yeah.
Thank you. And now, councillors, are there any questions in relation to the question? Councillor Ross?
How many properties were involved?
We think just broadly looking at property numbers and how they all stack up, there's probably about 45 properties, give or take. Not an absolute figure on that. Apologies to not know that, Councillor Ross, but
Properties, you're talking just a title?
no, a property. So a property can be made up of multiple titles under the same property number, and also can be made up of different property numbers that all come under the same ownership. So it's a little bit complicated, but
How big's the footprint that you're looking at?
it's quite an extensive area. It goes to Orford, to kind of Lake Ringa, across to almost to St Helens, and almost to Tyrone. So the footprint of the grant program was decided by the Ryan Corner wind farm developer, and they support projects in that footprint, which this happens to be one of them. Yeah.
Any other questions from councillors? Councillor Murray.
Thank you, through you, Matt. I just want to thank the St Helens Land Care Group and yourself for the initiative to do this, and to sort of rewild some of these areas. I think it's amazing. It's also calling out that there's a woman doing incredible work. If you need any help with identifying any native species or accessing any of them, her name's Carly from Grow Free in Port Fairy, and she does a lot of, I don't know what the word is, but she's got plenty of seedlings, and they're more than happy to share them around, so they might even be able to stretch further. So, but thank you, it's a great initiative. I'm happy to see it. I'm glad that council can help in that way.
Yeah, it's a project that aligns with council's own project with the Community Carbon Offset Fund. So, yeah, it's a good fit.
Councillor Ryan.
Thanks, through you, Mayor. Thanks for presenting, Ms Mill, and it's wonderful to see that this project got up. Just wondering if the group have enough volunteers to support with this project, and if council can support in any way.
The delicious thing about the St Helens and District Land Care Group, most of the members are farmers in that area, is that this grant program, which follows on a footprint of the project that we already run, means that we invest the responsibility for doing the projects with the landholder. And if they are seeking volunteers, absolutely, they put their hand up. But we try and make it so that it has ownership of the property owner, and they do the work, and get to know the plants that they're planting and that kind of thing. So thank you for the offer. If there is anything that comes up, I'll certainly be in touch. Your name will be at the top of the list.
Thanks, councillors. Any further questions? If not, Ms Mill, we can move on to your second item. And again, we have 5 minutes, and I'll give you a warning at the 4-minute mark.
Brilliant. So you will have seen in my application to speak today that I felt that in the summary of the media mentions that is provided to every meeting, that some consideration could be given to including mentions of Moyne Shire and communities Moyne Shire from Parliament. And the one that made me think about this and how come this is not included in the information that councillors get is actually from Jacinta Makora, and it came in on Wednesday the 13th, and she's talking about the Port Fairy Football Netball Club. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but just to quote a little bit of it, I congratulate the club, Moyne Shire and the Port Fairy community for the work they have done to achieve this. She talks about the Griffiths Street Bridge funding and various other matters pertaining to Moyne Shire, and I think that this kind of thing, which in this case is entirely positive and supportive of what Moyne Shire is doing, is worth being added to the list of media mentions that the council gets every month. That's it.
Thank you very much. I'll invite questions, and then I'll invite our CEO perhaps to So are there any questions of councillors? Yes, councillor Lockett.
Man, through. It's more of a statement than a question, if that's okay, but thank you very much for highlighting this because I'm like, completely agree. So it's really nice to know, you know, people out there in the community that care about this stuff and look out for it, and, you know, it's appreciated. So thank you.
Any other councillors, questions? If not, Ms. Edelstein, is there any response you're able to give at this point?
Yeah, thank you. Through your mayor. So, Ms. Mill, yeah, thanks again for a wonderful suggestion, and we really appreciate the recognition for council and community members we work with. So we do have quite a bit of discretion with what goes into that report. So yeah, I'm quite confident we'll be able to find a way to add these elements in. So it's a great suggestion, and we'll have a look at that more closely. And again, we'll come back to you with a response directly to your question, as well as to council shortly. So thank you for the recommendation.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ms. Edelstein. And thank you, Ms. Mill, for coming to us today to present on those two items. We are grateful to you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I now invite our second public participant, Ms. Genevieve Grant, to take the chair. And as you will have heard me explain earlier, we have a 5-minute limit, so I'll give you the warning at 4 minutes. Floor is yours.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks very much for having me. It's good to be here and have the opportunity to address this particular item. Having a gentle, quiet reflection to help focus our community leaders prior to proceedings can promote calm, goodwill and cooperation amongst us. This should be an essential part of parliamentary and local government processes. And through this process as well, it is imperative that we strive to be an inclusive community. This should be made manifest at every level of government. Of course, I'm talking about the prayer that happens prior to these meetings. Religious prayers run hollow and their truth lies wasted, particularly when they are being spoken and heard by non-believers. Our leaders need to practice thoughtful engagement through words and actions that reflect everyone in the community, without antagonism or self-righteousness. As well, the separation of church and state helps protect our democracy because it promotes a safer, more secular society. In the last census, the Bureau of Statistics quoted only 43.9% of people identified as Christian, a decline of 10% from the census of 2016. 10 million Australians, that's 38.9%, reported having no religious affiliation at all. So 56% of all Australians, that's well over it's well over half of the Australian population, either do not identify as Christian or are without any religious affiliation. And yet many politicians, councillors continue to promote an increasingly declining belief system by practising Christian prayer at the start of parliaments and council meetings, the assumption being that discussions, disagreements and debates might be countenanced by a God spirit in the sky. In this day and age, for many, it is hypocritical to invoke a God to bless your decisions. You are responsible for decisions being made, not a God. Men throughout history have used God as an excuse for shameful actions that have had dire consequences. The holy wars of the Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition, Henry VIII inventing a whole Church of England just so he could marry a multitude of times and bonk whoever he wanted. For me and many others, the prayer at the start of government business is simply a sanctimonious act of default and a cop-out, where elected officials practice superior piety, deferring to an unelected authority. Elected officials are responsible for decisions on our behalf. God has nothing to do with your words or your behaviour towards one another. Prayers seem to have no bearing on this at all. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to raise this issue.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Are there any councillors who would like to clarify anything?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your colourful presentation. My question is, one of the Councillor Dukes brought up about community consultation. And you mentioned then about statistics. I'm wondering what your thoughts were about community consultation regarding the removal of the prayer, given that every household in Australia has said their, in terms of the ABS, they've said their views about religion. I'm wondering what your comments are on that.
Well, I think if you're wanting to have that community consultation, it's easy enough to put it out there and ask people what they think. I think that the assumption that there is a prayer, that I think it's a Christian prayer at the beginning of the meetings, is just so non-inclusive. So we have moved on. And I think the people who guide us in council and parliaments, they need to move on with us and understand that. And understand it can be quite insulting, really.
Any other clarifying questions? If not, thank you for your presentation today. Right. You're all welcome to stay for the full entirety of the meeting. We appreciate the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to call for a motion to resume orders, councillors. Councillor Murray, seconded by Councillor Ryan. All those in favour? It's carried 6-0. Now, given that we have just heard the prayer, had a presentation in relation to the prayer, we will call for a motion to hear that particular item next in the agenda. So I'll call for a motion that we do elevate item 3.2. Thank you, Councillor Murray, seconded. Councillor Lockett. All those in favour? Carried 6-0. Okay, so item 3.2 is a councillor notice of motion, which was brought to the table by Councillor Dukas, who is an apology today. Is there another councillor who would like to speak to this, like to move this motion? I'll move it. You'll move the motion. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Is there a second for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Ross. All those in, oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. We don't need to get to that point yet. So, Councillor Taylor, would you like to speak to this motion? I would like to speak to this motion. Stand to be proceeded.
So my question is, do our ratepayers and residents fully grasp the consequences of removing prayer from our meetings? I think it's important that people know where ideas come from. For almost 200 years, Karl Marx, his followers and his heirs have worked to transform Western civilization. Why? Because Marx hated God. And that hatred is inseparable from the ideology he created. To understand today's ideology, postmodern, neo-Marxism, critical constructivism, social justice, you have to understand Marx. This is the lineage. Marx began as a Christian, but by 19 he had abandoned faith. In his early works, he declared a personal rebellion against God. In his poem, The Pale Maiden, he wrote, "Thus heaven I forfeited, I know it full well, my soul, once true to God, is chosen for hell." In his play, Ulanum, he said, "If there is a something which devours, I'll leap within it, though I bring the world to ruins. The world which bulks between me and the abyss, I will smash to pieces with my enduring curses." And in another poem, "I shall build my throne high overhead, cold, tremendous shall its summit be. I'm equal to God, I shall be the master of the world." Some young writers use dark imagery, but Marx returned to hell, destruction and self-deification again and again. This was the mindset his political ideas grew from: liberation through destruction, replacing God's order with man's. Those who lived under Marxist regimes saw the results. Richard Wurmbrand, tortured in communist Romania, and Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who survived the Gulag, both concluded the same thing. Marxist communism began in his rejection of God. If they say it, I believe it. As Marx evolved through the Frankfurt School into postmodern neo-Marxism, the spirit remained the same: a war on transcendence, on truth, on natural law, on family responsibility, and meaning rooted outside the self. When family breaks down, individuals are easier to control. When shared truth collapses, law and morality lose their foundation. When religion is delegitimised, the state and ideology step in as the new gods. And soft totalitarianism, re-education, cancel culture, job loss, punishes dissenters. I know because I've experienced all three of these myself.
For this movement, control of culture matters as much as control of policy. Symbols, rituals, prayers, these shape how people think. The goal is not neutrality, as claimed. Remove Christian influence, and the ideology can redefine morality and social order without challenge. Under this framework, every relationship is reduced to oppressor and oppressed. Marxians don't pursue beauty, truth, or goodness. They redefine them to serve power. What a wretched and impoverished way to see the world.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Ross, would you like to speak to this motion?
Yeah, I want to support the motion. I don't think it's too much to ask to take it out to the wider community, put them out to the wider community with some of their input. It's not going to hurt us to support this motion and take it to the community and come back a later date with the community's feelings.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Any other councillors want to speak for or against this motion? Councillor Locker.
Yeah, I'll speak against the motion. And it was nice to hear the Frankfurt School be brought up in the council chamber. Some of my favourite philosophers come from the Frankfurt School, particularly Eric Fromm, who talks about the art of loving. And I think that's one of the things, you know, might be missed in all this. But we've discussed it. I think it's this, you know, in terms of wasting council time and resources. This is not appropriate use of a rescind motion. It's the councillors that no new information has been brought about. That's what a rescind motion is for. This view about consulting the community. This motion was brought up in the previous council. It wasn't successful, but the overwhelming amount of support for the motion when that was brought up in 2020. I've personally consulted about this for the last 8.5 years or more, and I've had so many people bring this up. I didn't bring this up because of my own ideology. I brought it up because I've had people from Muslim, Sikh, Hindu, various other religions that don't feel included in our council meetings, and I've had people thank me and really appreciate that it was so, you know, I could go on and on. I suppose I will. So I'm here to speak against the rescind motion. Spoke about before about the ABS, you know, stats. I won't go into the exact figures, but it's, I think it was 52% something. The whole of Australia had no religion, so it's about being inclusive. It's not at all about being anti-religion. Obviously, you know, brought up Karl Marx earlier. He used to say religion is the opium of the masses. I'm not talking about Karl Marx. We're talking about being an inclusive Shire, inclusive of all religions, of all faiths, of all sexualities, of all whatever floats your boat. Being inclusive, it's not about excluding. Yeah, I think that's enough. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett. Do other councillors want to speak for or against this motion? Councillor Murray?
Through you, Mayor. I'd like to speak against the motion. The community is well aware of how I voted at the previous council meeting. I have kept a very open mind about this, and I have actively engaged with people in our community, both for and against this decision. And I've kept a very open mind. And my basis for removing the prayer from council meetings was one of inclusivity. And no one that is supportive of keeping the prayer has been able to give me a single reason as to how keeping the prayer does not exclude other people. And that's all we're talking about here. This isn't anti-religion. This isn't any ideological anything. It's just we've got to become inclusive. Now, Councillor Ducas's rescind motion is based on the fact that community consultation wasn't undertaken. I think the census is good enough community consultation. That's not just Moyne and our area, it's the whole country have had their say on this matter. And the trend is that by the next census, it will very likely be even more people claiming no religion and varying other religions. There is also nothing in the Local Government Act and nothing in our community engagement policy that states that we would need to spend ratepayer money on doing community consultation for something like this. This is a procedure. The meeting procedure is something that we decide on as councillors. And again, I reiterate, this is an anti-religion. This is about inclusivity. I've had extensive conversations with numerous priests across Moyne Shire, Catholic school principals, practicing Catholics, people in my own family, and every single one of them are very supportive of this. So for that reason, I am speaking against it.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Any other councillors would like to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll return to you as the mover, Councillor Taylor.
Thank you. I do have a little more to say. So just firstly regarding the ABS statistics, although people state no religion, I don't think that necessarily follows that they want the Christianity completely be removed from the public square. So I've heard the arguments to why the prayer must go, in summary because it is important to be secular, to represent everyone, to be inclusive, separation of church and state, etc. British historian Christopher Dawson remarked that faith anchors us to something higher than the state. Without it, we fall under the spell of ideologies that seek to mould society for their own ends. What might those ideologies be? Well, to present my argument, the distinction between liberty and liberation needs to be articulated. Liberation is not liberty, the two are not the same. Liberty is the condition of living under law and moral order where individuals have the right to speak, to think, to believe without coercion. Liberty is safeguarded by institutions that restrain arbitrary power. It is enduring. Liberation, on the other hand, is the tearing down of restraint. It is freedom defined by the collective, freedom from something. But here is the sleight of hand. Liberation almost always devours liberty. Why? Because once you define freedom in terms of the group, the individual must submit to the group's ideology. Dissent becomes oppression, disagreement becomes harm. And here lies the deepest danger. The most fundamental private property we own is not land or wealth, but our mind. The right to exclude ideas we don't agree with, to believe, to decide for ourselves what is true. Today's liberation movements aim at that property. They police speech, they prescribe thought, they punish dissent. This is not a side effect, it is the goal, because to liberate society, they must control what people think. You can control the mind, you control the person. That is the destruction of first principles freedom, the freedom on which all others rest. Now here is the paradox, or rather the trick. Christianity is told, if, as you claim, you truly believe in freedom, erase yourself. If you value tolerance, devour yourself for tolerance's sake. That logic seems reasonable, but it is a sleight of hand because liberty itself was born out of Christianity, out of the conviction that every human being bears God's image and cannot be owned by the state or an ideology. Removing from the prayer from the public square does not create neutrality as claimed, and neither is it a neutral act. It is an act of praxis, a strategic manoeuvre by those who are hostile to classical liberalism and Western values, and if we succumb, liberty itself will not survive.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Okay, we now will put this motion to the vote, and I should have read this out at the beginning. The motion is that the Moyne Shire Council rescind its decision of the 22nd of July 2025 Ordinary Council meeting, item number 3.2, Councillor Notice of Motion Parts 1 and 2, which was, of course, in reference to the prayer. So I'll now put this item 3.2 to the vote. All those in favour of the motion, please raise your hand. Those in favour are Councillors Taylor and Ross. All those against, Councillor Murray, Councillor Foster, Councillor Lockett and Councillor Ryan. That motion is lost. Okay, we move now to item 2.1, the year-end finance report for June 2025, and I'll call on our Director of Corporate and Governance, Mr. Ed Small, to introduce this to us, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, I'm pleased to be able to present this year-end financial report for June 25. This is an important document for the finance team and for the organisation to demonstrate our financial management skills. I'm pleased to say we have made these are unaudited statements, I must say. We are currently reporting an audited surplus of 10.7 million. an underlying surplus of 6 million. And these figures are very much in favourable against the adopted budget. However, both of these results have been impacted by a good adjustment from the state government, which has brought forward some revenue, 5.8 million. So though I am being technical here, but it actually does make a difference. So the state government's given us some money which generally would be allocated in 25-26, and they brought this $5 million into 24-25, so it makes our current year's results look very good. Unfortunately, will make next year's financial results less favourable, but we'll come to that when we get to next year's financial results. But this year they look very favourable. We wanted to also highlight the fact the capital works program has been very successful over the year. We've completed 92% of our program, which is 29 million, and that's up from a 90% program achievement last year. Again, very successful. And I just wanted to highlight the outstanding rates for the May period to June periods, and also the outstanding debtors for May and June, both improved slightly, which was comforting to see. So the next steps we need to do from here is we need to have the auditors complete the review of these annual financial statements. And then we have to get the Audit and Risk Committee to endorse these financial statements to go through to the Council for adoption. And once the Council has approved the annual financial statements, they get form part of the annual report, which Council will then see in October. So that's the process for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Are there questions for this item? Any questions? We do have a recommendation there that Council receive and note the interim financial report as at 30 June 2025. I'm seeking a mover. Thank you, Councillor Murray. Seconded, Councillor Ross. Councillor Murray. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Ross.
No, happy to receive and note to the financial report.
Thank you. Opportunity for other councillors to speak for or against this motion. If not, I'll return to you as the mover. Councillor Murray, anything further you'd like to add? Put that to the vote. All those in favour. Thank you. That's carried 6-0. Item 2.2 is the monthly finance report for July 2025. Mr. Small again, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, just for the clarity of the gallery, the reason why we've got two finance reports in 1 month is simply because the June financial report for the whole year has got a whole lot of more detail in its financial reporting, and we wanted to make sure we had covered that comprehensively. So we had the July report coming through, this item 2.2 coming through in its appropriate month, which is August, while the June one was also put in here. So in relation to item 2.2, this is the July monthly report. This is obviously the first month of this financial year. It's tracking on year to date against budget satisfactorily. We haven't yet raised the rate of revenue, which will obviously make a big difference to the income part of this budget. But if you look at our year to date results, we are making a $3.4 million deficit year to date against a budget of $4.1 million deficit. So we're tracking on fine. And the only comment I wanted to make, which councillors are conscious of, is that there is still elements of disadvantage in our community with the drought and other parts of our economic activity. And though our outstanding rates are better than they were previous month, we still need to be very cautious on how our community are going in relation to other debtors which we do collect. So you will notice on page 62 of our report, other debtors have gone up higher than we would have hoped for. So we'll need to have a closer look at that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Questions? I just have a brief question. You mentioned rates notices, Mr. Small. Are they due to go out in the next little while?
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, we're hoping to get them go out within the next fortnight.
Thank you. No further questions? Our recommendation there is that Council receive and note the financial report as at 31 July 2025. Is anybody prepared to move? Thank you, Councillor Murray. Seconded, Councillor Ross. Councillor Murray.
Nothing further, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ross.
No, happy to receive and note and thank Mr. Small for his comments there on the debtors.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Ross. Any other councillor who'd like to speak for or against? I'm going to presume you don't have it, want to sum up there, Councillor Murray. Let's put that to the vote. Item 2.2, all those in favour? That's carried 6-0. Thank you. Item 2.3 is the MAV, Municipal Association of Victoria, State Council motions. Mr. Small, would you please step us through this one?
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, the Municipal Association of Victoria has, in its State Council every year, requests or invites councils to make submissions to the State Council to explore issues the councils would like to raise. So the Shire of Moyne has identified 5 different areas it'd like to cover, and these are set out in the recommendation on page 69 and 70. A number of these have actually got a number of additional steps as well, so it's quite complicated, this motion, but it covers elements like pre-prep kindergarten, the local roads and community infrastructure road funding program, an innovative model for looking for per kilometre funding to support the council in its work for council local roads, and then to also explore more advocacy in relation to volunteerism, and finally in relation to a standard approach to community benefits plans which form part of the renewable energy zones. So there's a number of issues here which covered in some depth, and we've also, for each of these motions, there is a separate page that talks about the reasoning why council has proposed to support these recommendations. So the next steps would be, if the council is comfortable with these resolutions, then effectively we would be confirming with the MAV that we'd like to have these tabled with the MAV. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Small. These have been discussed at workshop. There's an opportunity now for questions, clarification. No? If not, I don't propose to read that long officer recommendation out. It is there before us, and I'm seeking a mover. Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Seconded, Councillor Murray. Councillor Ross.
Thanks through you, Mayor. These motions highlight critical issues for our community, including early years reform, local roads funding, renewable energy benefits, and support for volunteers. These motions strengthen our collective advocacy voice, so that's why I'm voting for them today.
Councillor Ryan. Councillor Murray.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. I just wanted to highlight there are 5 really great motions here that will then be, we hope the MAV will pick up to advocate for state and federal government. But the one that I'm most, excited about is the per kilometre road funding model it's a new approach to road funding, and it will move it from a population-based model to a more of a needs-based model, which I think would be so much fairer for rural communities and shires like ours that don't have the big population, but we do have lots of roads. And it'll just help to address the asset renewal gap that all rural and regional councils find themselves in. So it is very exciting, and I really hope that the MAV and our other councils can see that this could be a really beneficial new approach.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Any other councillor would like to speak for or against this motion? I'll turn to you, Councillor.
Just one more comment. Thank you, Mayor. Just noting that all other Victorian councils also have the opportunity to put forward motions. So although there will be common challenges across the state, we are somewhat up against other shires and councils to put our needs forward. So hopefully we can ensure that what Moyne Shire needs is represented at the MAV conference.
Ryan. Let's put item 2.3 to the vote. All those in favour? That is carried 6-0. Thanks, councillors. Item 2.4, intention to declare a public highway and carriage easement extension of Crothers Lane in Grasmere. Interesting one here, Mr. Small.
Thank you. Councillors, as the Mayor said, this is an interesting one. We're trying to achieve something using an unusual way to achieve a goal which we often try and do, which is to create a road, or in this case, a walking track. So if we look at page 88, there's a map there. It illustrates in red the area of land we're talking about. And we're proposing to declare this road as a carriageway. And we're using an old section of the local government act we don't use very often. So we need to, in order to see whether we can declare this land as a public highway, we've got to have a landowner manifest intention to declare the land as a public highway. And secondly, the public accepts that this dedication has been used. So we've got this basically a right of way which is used by the community. And we've had expressions from a member of the community that we do actually create this as a formal pathway for the community to use. So in order to do that, we wish to have a resolution from council to go through the process of declaring this a public highway, and then to seek public notice to see if there are any submissions in relation to the council proposal. And if the council receives no negative submissions, or some possibly other alternative submissions, would need to receive a further report on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Do we have questions? I just have a question. When you say it's going out for public consultation, will adjoining adjoining landholders be notified directly about the intent or the aim?
I definitely feel we should do that, so
Yeah, thank you.
make sure that happens.
Any other questions? Okay, we have got an officer recommendation there. Again, I won't read that detailed recommendation out. We have had lots of information about this in workshops, so seeking a mover. Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Seconded, Councillor Lockett. Councillor Ryan.
Thanks, through you, Mayor. This is not something I ever thought I would be voting on within the council chamber. However, supporting this intention notice keeps options open for the community to ensure transparency in decision making. And I'd like to thank those community members for coming to us to present on this matter as well. It's always a bit daunting to come to present to council, but we don't know every square inch of the Shire, so we really encourage our local residents to come to us when they look for improvements within their own backyards.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, ma'am. It'd be great use of land that isn't doing too much. So yeah, Councillor right. That was, many steps and procedures along the way, but yeah, it'd be a good outcome for the community, for them as well, from Melbourne to a good path. Hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other councillors wanting to speak for or against this item? Oh, yes, Councillor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Small, for your words. It's very complicated. I'm pretty sure that we all haven't got our heads around it. So, but I'm happy to support it and send it to the community for their feedback.
Thank you. If nobody else, I'll return to you as the mover, Councillor Ryan. I think that's it. Let's put item 2.4 to the vote. All those in favour, that is carried 6-0. Item 5 is 2.5 is the Chief Executive Officer Employment and Remuneration Advisory Committee, and you've declared a conflict with this one, Mr. Small.
Yeah, for obvious reasons, it's to do with my employment remuneration, so I'll step out now.
Thank you very much for doing so. And I'll call on you, Mr. Small, excuse me, as our Corporate and Governance Services Director to introduce this for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, for the gallery, it's probably a strange resolution, because basically what we're asking the council to consider is the minutes, which are confidential, of the CEO Employment and Remuneration Advisory Committee. So the intention of this report is that the communicator can demonstrate that, can see the council is conducting its work. It needs to actually undertake an annual review of the CEO's performance every year, and it needs to be able to go through a process to demonstrate that it has enabled that. So this report is really to give visibility to the work the council has done. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Small. Noting that we can't speak about the minutes themselves, are there any questions, councillors? If not, we've got a recommendation that we endorse those confidential minutes. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Seconded, Councillor Murray. Councillor Taylor?
We've got nothing.
Thank you. Councillor Murray? Any other councillor who'd like to speak for or against? Let's put that to the vote. All those in favour? Thanks, that's carried 6-0. We can invite Mr. Everstein to return. And I can confirm that it was a very detailed review process. Thorough. We now move to item 2.6, Great Ocean Road Regional Tourism, and a proposed MOU and membership. This organisation, and I'll ask our Director of Environment, Economy and Space, Ms. Jodie McNamara, to tell us about this one, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, the Great Ocean Road Regional Tourism Association is on membership is up for renewal via a memorandum of understanding. Sport, as they're known, is an important strategic partner to assist council and others in delivery of a tourism economy, which is an important economic arm of our council. Part of their membership includes the contribution for annually for 3 years, and we are also recommending that a revised membership in the form of councillor represents Moyne at the board. We are suggesting Councillor Susan Taylor be appointed in lieu of an officer to, I guess, provide another level of transparency and representation at the board table. Details are within the report on the value and the benefits, and I'll open up the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McNamara. Do we have any questions?
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. McNamara. Just want to note that this does only benefit Moyne Shire, but also all of the businesses within the Shire as well. Can you speak a little bit more to those benefits for our businesses?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Ryan. More broadly, our businesses across Moyne do receive membership to Gorse. We have recently even been, I guess, received a presentation from Boat Festival Committee where they praised Gorse and its involvement in promoting an important festival like Soki. I imagine there would be many more events, and you know, like the Irish Festival in Corot, that would benefit from this type of partnership. The value is not coming to my mind straight away on what that means, but it's nearly equal to what our contribution is in terms of monetary value in the membership. So thank you for that, Mr.
Any other questions? If not, Ms. McNamara has alluded to the officer recommendation there that we renew our agreement in the form of an MOU with Great Ocean Road Regional Tourism, and also that we appoint Councillor Susan Taylor to the board. So I'm seeking a mover, please. Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Seconded. Councillor Murray. Councillor Ryan.
Thanks through you, Mayor. Tourism is vital for our economy in Moyne, so this 3-year commitment ensures that we have a strong voice in the region's strategic direction. It also extends marketing and promotion opportunities to a host of local Moyne businesses, which play a crucial role in their success. So support this motion. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Murray.
Big further, thank you.
Any other councillors? Right. So Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just reiterate what Councillor Ryan has said, and that tourism is a really important contributor to the region's economy, and promotion is key to that. And the board membership provides very good value for money, so I'm happy to support the motion.
Okay. If there are no other councillors wanting to speak for or against, I will return to you as the mover. Thank you. Let's put that to the vote. Item 2.6, all those in favour? Thank you, carried 6-0. Item 2.7 is active transport strategy for Koroit, Mortlake and Wongu. And I'll ask our Acting Director of Assets and Community, Simone Robinson, to introduce us, please, and welcome back from leave.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, the active transport strategy was a strategy commissioned by Council to guide the future planning and delivery of walking and cycling infrastructure in the townships I mentioned, Koroit, Mortlake and Wongu. The strategy is driven by community demand for safer and more connected active transport networks. There was considerable community consultation undertaken. We had 54 responses that highlighted gaps in walking and cycling paths and limited connectivity between these townships. The strategy provides a staged approach and it will allow council to leverage funding opportunities moving forward. We have identified some early stage projects that focus on high priority safety, which have strong funding potential.
Ms. Robinson. Councillors, are there questions? We're all very quiet today. No, we do have a recommendation there that we adopt the active transport strategy for the three townships, Koroit, Mortlake and Wongu. Seeking a mover. Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Seconded by Councillor Lockhart.
Thanks through you, Mayor. This strategy reflects community input and outlines a phased approach to improving safety, connectivity and accessibility, walking and cycling. Port Fairy have had a bicycle implementation strategy for a few years now, so it's great to see that extend to other towns within our Shire, so we can improve visibility and connectivity in our smaller spots. Thank you.
Absolutely. Councillor.
Very well said by Councillor Wright. Yeah, it's super important that we've got accessibility and safety on our roads for our cyclists and other people. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Any other councillors? Speak, Councillor.
Yeah, I'm just happy it's a staged approach, and if we've got the cash, we'll tick it off some of it.
Bit by bit. Yep. Okay, thank you. Let's put item 2.7. Oh, sorry, return to you, Councillor Ryan.
Nothing further.
Sum up, no. Let's put item 2.7 to the vote. Those in favour, that is carried 6-0. Moving to item 3.1, the Mayor and Councillor activities. They're set out there for you. Are there any questions, any commentary around those? No. We'll move then to, we've dealt with item 3.2. We'll move to item 3.3, which is general matters. Do we have any? Councillor Ryan.
Through you, Mayor. I feel like I've done a lot of talking today compared to everyone else. Just three things, or two things from me, because I believe Councillor Murray will talk to another item. Speaking of Councillor Murray, we both attended the Rural Council Victoria Forum along with Mr. Everstein, Ms McNamara and one of our wonderful managers within the Shire. It was up in Yarrawonga, so it was a great opportunity to engage with other regional councils in Victoria. And final one from me, We're at Purple Day is coming up on this Friday, the 29th of August. That's a day to support young LGBTIQA+ people by fostering a supportive, safe, empowering and inclusive environment. So I encourage everyone to get their purple on for the day. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Now, Councillor Murray, you suggested that you might have an item for general business.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I just wanted to speak about the skate and play opening that we had at Port Fairy a couple of weeks ago. I know that I've never been to a council event that was that much fun, or probably even that well attended. There were so many people there. It was such a really fun vibe, and it was so exciting after such a long wait. You could just see from the kids how happy they were, and I drive past there every single day with my family, and it is packed all the time. So it's really amazing. I want to thank Senator Rapchikoni for coming and Jacinta Emakora for officially opening it, but also to all of the kids for showing up and for loving the space and for being so patient. I think 9 years it's taken. So yeah, and really thank our project management office team for the phenomenal work that they did in running the project. I've just got a little message here from Councillor Ryan, and she said, mention the rubbish. Now, there's been a little bit of rubbish left around Skate and Play, and we want to remind everyone, it's your place, look after it, pick up your rubbish. But yeah, a really fantastic piece of infrastructure that we've got. And also briefly wanted to mention that we officially opened the Port Fairy Football Netball Club change rooms, which was a really nice event and a really great facility for the Football Netball Club in Port Fairy. That's all.
Thanks, Councillor Murphy. Other general thanks.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. Also, yeah, on the Skate and Play, I just wanted to, I was MC on the day and I forgot to do a big shout out to Edith Farrell because she did a power of work on that project, and I was really upset with myself for not mentioning it on the day. She did a heap of work for many, many years to help get that project, and also to Simon Robertson did. Near the tail end, but got the glory going finalised, but you're also away for the opening. So really wanted to shout out that was, yeah, as you said, it's been 9 years or something in the making, but I actually think it's the best project Moyne has ever done. And the feedback from the community is absolutely glowing. Big shout out to the events team as well, because the fairy floss was flowing and the sausages and free skateboards, and what an event. It was an awesome event. I also wanted to do a really big shout out to the MacArthur Kindergarten, because there's 7 quality areas of the National Quality Standard for kindergartens. This is a difficult thing for kindergartens to make that standard, let alone exceed the standard. So MacArthur, feels like they do it every year, but I think they've done it multiple years. I don't know about if they've got it in a row. I'm going to put more pressure on them, but they are absolutely smashing out the park out of there, and they're a wonderful team. They do a phenomenal job. It's, and it really, highlights the amazing job they do. Not just there. I wanted to, shout out to all the early years centres in Moyne. It's difficult sometimes within our small little hamlets, our small communities to staff. Sometimes, it's a difficult space, but they're doing a phenomenal job to, keep our kids not only safe, but flourishing and learning and getting them ready for, school years and stuff. So a big shout out to MacArthur Kindergarten.
Do you have any other general matters? No. Thank you, councillors. Item 3.4, urgent business. I believe there is any. No. Item 4, CEO meeting schedule and activities report. Mr. Einstein.
Thank you. Thank you through Mayor. Thanks for the opportunity to provide an update. So through the meeting schedule, it's another very active period of time. So really enjoyed lots of community groups and organisations welcome me over that month. So just a few highlights I'd like to point everyone's attention to. Firstly, the funding that we were successful at receiving for the Gibb Street Bridge in Port Fairy. So firstly on that, it's through the federal government's Safer Local Roads and Infrastructure program. And that funding is for $5 million, which is based on a 65-35 funding split. So the federal government's component is capped at the $5 million. So, but that ratio between federal and council remains 65-35 up to that point. So we'll be doing a design and tender process next. So that's being worked on at the moment, as well as some of the infrastructure that needs to be dealt with ahead of that bridge work. So really exciting project for us to undertake next. Really looking forward to that. And the other important funding announcement that came through the same program was just under $2.2 million for a 4.2 kilometre upgrade of the Darlington Terang Road. And that'll be a joint project with Shire. So that's a funding both councils have been chasing for a few years. So we're really pleased to be able to invest in that road as well. So that work is, the planning work for that's underway as well. So really grateful for the federal government funding around that. And also that was announced by Senator Ralph Ciccone when he was in Port Fairy recently for the skate and play opening. And I'd like to just thank all the local members who have played a big role over the years in advocating for, in particular, the Gibbs Street Bridge. So we're really grateful for their attention and time to do that. I always like to provide an update on roads. It is a new financial year, so our road reseal program is now in planning and underway. So lots of site assessment work happens at this time of year in lieu of the better weather that comes later in the year for a big part of that work to commence. And also our unsealed road resheeting program is now in progress also. Some current works underway nearing completion include the Castle Carey Road, so that's just over 90% complete, as is the approaches to the Hopkins Fall Road Bridge that we've been working on for several months. Both projects just waiting for the right weather to complete those seals, so look forward to those two big projects completing shortly. Another important update I'd like to give each month is our early years. So in addition to Councillor Lockett's comments before about MacArthur and the wider team, great job they're doing. We also keep a really close eye on total enrolment. So in August, we've got 370 enrolments across the Shire, and that includes 32 at Roots Garbock operating out of a council-owned building. So it's a bit of a different solution there, but all in all, that represents a 17% increase compared to the same time last year. So enrolments are up strongly year on year. So we're really pleased to see that, and we're working on the future to continue increasing those enrolments across the Shire. Key projects. So back to comments Mr. Small made. So just like to reiterate the 92% project capital completion rate. So that compares to 90% last year, which in turn compares to I think 70% the year before, and for many years that completion rate has always been somewhere between 70 and 75% for many years. So not only was that record significantly beaten last year, but in the most recent year went a couple of percentage points better. So really pleased that wasn't just a one-off. To do that 2 years in a row, I'm confident that's one of the best performances in rural councils in the state. So we're really pleased with that, and congratulations to the PMO team, the engineers and all of our crews that work with that group. What it means at the end of the day is inside each year we're getting more projects done on time and on budget that allows us to roll into the next year and restart that again. And that's a big component of council work in any given year. Just other project work to highlight, our planning and finalisation of the detailed design plans for stage 3 of the Koroit Streetscape project are well progressed. Community consultation with residents and businesses with properties adjacent to the works are now happening. So there's an opportunity tomorrow night at the Koroit Theatre to join that from 5:30 p.m. So we really welcome, that's Wednesday the 27th of August, I should say. So we really welcome any members of the committee that would like to join that to come and have a chat to us then. The works themselves are due to commence on Commercial Road from mid-October, and High Street would be around early February. So really important time coming up for in and around Koroit with that particular project. Many more projects are also happening across the Shire, but a few other things I'd like to mention in closing. Big Grid published the transmission plan renewable energy zones recently. It's been in the news, and Moyne Shire Council will be providing a submission to that announcement by mid-September, and any member of the community can provide a submission as well. So we really encourage folks to have a look at that plan and think about providing some feedback to that process. We had a really nice event last Friday night at back at the Koroit Theatre through Food and Fibre Great South Coast. So in partnership with them, we hosted an event called the launch of Your Neck of the Woods video that was produced by Wendy Hargraves, and that highlighted about half a dozen businesses in and around Koroit. And we played that video, and we had in the foyer at the Koroit Theatre a lot of those producers with stands, and we had I think over 60 folks from the community come and look at that. One of the really interesting highlights of that is the degree to which businesses operating in Moyne are trading with each other. So it's a real focus on supporting each other's growth and working out ways to do that. So some wonderful success stories. So Your Neck of the Woods, which is on YouTube, really encourage folks to get online and have a look at that great video. In the CEO report, you'll see a landfill audit has been completed recently, and so we do quite well with our bin management across the Shire. There are always opportunities to improve, and so I'd just like to highlight a couple of those. In the red landfill bins, there's still about 49% of what's going in those that could go into the other bins and help us avoid those high landfill costs that ultimately are cost to ratepayers. And also in the yellow recycling bin, there's about 17% going into those bins that don't belong in that bin, which again sort of takes away our opportunity to recycle that component. So while we're doing well in a lot of areas with waste management, there are a couple of the improvement opportunities we always want to chase. I'd like to also just note Snaps and Solve. We continue to see about 50 plus items there for us to focus on each month. So really encourage the community to keep doing that. It's a great way to interact with us to get things seen to as quickly as possible. And lastly, I'd just like to thank our finance team on their work for the year-end results. It's always a big exercise. We'll still go through an audit over the next few weeks, but it's a big piece of their work each year. Done a really good job at that. So that's it for me. Happy for any questions. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Mr. Everstein. It's always a comprehensive report. Are there questions? Okay, well, thank you very much for your very busy month. I'm going to call for a motion to suspend standing orders now so that we can consider the one item that's in confidential general today. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Ryan, all those in favour? Thank you. And thank you to those who've been watching along in the gallery and online today. Yeah, all good. So let's go straight to the